Here, look at my Baz. So there's been a lot of things happening. I gotta shave a little bit more. There's been a lot of things happening. Um, Apparently, ABC got bomb scare for the whole firing of that fella. I don't even know what his name is. Is it Jimmy Kimmel? What's the guy's name? I don't watch it, so I really don't know. Um, you have the shooting in Dallas was at the ICE facility. There's a lot of things happening, and I feel like liberals need to separate themselves from the left. Um, Liberal means free thinking, free thought. Yeah. See, I don't consider myself a conservative, although I may have right-leaning views, and I agree with some right-leaning ideas like pro-life. I'm okay. I'm all for keeping our borders secure. Not turning kids into trans and whatnot. I agree with these things, but I don't consider myself a conservative because free thinking is liberal. So if anything, I see myself as a liberal Republican, if anything, or liberal independent. But liberal is free thinking, and crazy left wing ways, radical ways, are corrupting what is considered liberalism. Um, I think people need to step away from it. I think liberals need to step away from it. Um, Disassociate yourselves from the left. Make sure that you're if you're free thinking, you're not advocating for violence unless your free thoughts go towards the violence. But if you're using violence to shut down free thought, you're not a liberal, and you shouldn't be calling yourself a liberal. If anything, by definition, wouldn't it be more conservative or even authoritarianism to shut someone down because of free speech, because of free thought and whatnot? It's really really confusing. But I made this comment about other things such as like that fella who kept going to the Disney World and talking about things in regards to his genitals and whatnot. Um, I made a comment suggesting these people are plants, and I think some of them are. I think some of them went about certain roads just to make that side look terrible. I think people like him. I forgot what's his name. Was it Tila or something like that? I don't remember his name. Either way, um, I feel like people like him did that just to be a clown and make that side look bad. They're plants, and I wonder. I'm not trying to blame the right for this or whatever, but I wonder how many people now doing these crazy things are actually, right-leaning people who are doing them in the name of left to make the left look bad. And not that I agree with left, but because y'all so radical, y'all so crazy, it makes it easy to blame. Similar to how not to go off topic, but like a DMX or a Whitney Houston, because these people were drug users, it became easy to believe that they died of overdoses and they weren't targeted and drugged or something, because it's easy to chalk them up as druggies, as junkies. Same thing for the left. If y'all are being radical and crazy, it's easy to do something and say you guys did it. um, this Tyler whatever fella. Do I think that he's right leaning, turn left to be a plant? I don't know. I think you have to go really really radical to want to off someone. Um, but I think there are some people who are being plants. And I think there are people who are doing things just to be agitators and stir the pot. Um, Originally, BLM was doing peaceful protests, and what went crazy with it was now I remember at the time when the protests turned to riots, they were blaming Antifa for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a plant to radicalize and make the whole thing go either way. Um, there's some people who I've met in my life who are left leaning and are deranged. Where I was just living before. It's probably a good thing that I don't live there no more because the fellow was extreme left. Um, we had a scare during Fourth of July. It wasn't nothing actually happened. Someone mistook the fireworks as gunfire, and they went crazy and they start running in a panic. And a big panic started in Jersey City. When I tried telling my old roommate about that, he started laughing. Like, I didn't even get to the story because he thought the shit was funny. Like, there's certain things that you know someone with human morals and whatnot, and a sound mind wouldn't find funny. You wouldn't. I don't think it's funny to watch a crowd of people panic and trip over each other and start a stampede and bones get broken, scars get made. So I will say I'm quite happy that I don't live there no more, because he laughed at Charlie Kirk, and me and him probably would have gotten into a fight over that. We probably went for blows over that, because I didn't think that was funny. Whereas where I'm living now, I'm living with left-leaning people, but they're not mocking Charlie Kirk. They have their butts, the butts come from what they hear in the media versus what they've actually heard from him. Nevertheless, they're not radical. They're not laughing. They're not mocking him. They're not doing all that. They still kind of have TDS, but they're not going that far out. And so that's my way of saying not all left-leaning people are that far gone. Not all liberal people are that far gone. And I think you guys need to separate yourselves from that radical side. It's unbecoming of this country. We don't need it. There are people trying to take over this country. Our population is the black, the Spanish, the white population is going down. Our people are not reproducing as much as they used to, and so there's not as many kids being born, because it's us that are having these abortions, whereas there's another group of people who aren't going through abortions, and you know what, they're overpopulating and they're taking over. And they're taking over little by little by little. They're taking over cities. They're in Michigan, Paris, New Jersey. They're taking over. And in the meantime, we're just fighting amongst each other, We're fighting amongst ourselves, and we're making ourselves easy targets. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's good. I don't think there's anything wrong. And this is the craziest part about it, is it has nothing to do with Trump. Yeah, I think it does, but it doesn't. It's all media. It really is all media. We may not agree entirely with what Trump does or what he says, but we didn't entirely agree with what Biden did and what he said. We didn't entirely agree with what Obama did and what he said. We didn't entirely agree with what Bush did and what he said. But just because of these people being in office doesn't mean you go out into shooting sprees and start offing people and going crazy. Like, that is pushed not by your president. That's not a division created by your president, but by the media, who constantly spouts lies and tricks people into thinking that such people are Nazis. Again, I couldn't be a Nazi. I couldn't be a KKK. I couldn't be any of the white supremacists. Why? You see this hair? It doesn't come from a white man. It comes from a black man. My father's a black man, so these things wouldn't align. But because I'm not entirely left-leaning, I would be considered, because I'm MAGA, because I'm pro-patriotism, I'll be considered supremacist, which doesn't make any sense, My father loves this country. My father's an immigrant. He loves this country. He's patriotic to his country. But if he decided to be patriotic to this country, again, people would see him as, a supremacist, a Nazi or whatever, which wouldn't make sense because the man's black. And there's plenty of other black people who are right-leaning, who are facing those same things. You're a Nazi, you're a traitor, you're all these things. And yet the majority of the people who are saying this are white people who are telling you how to think. They took over woke. It's no longer about, being mindful of your surroundings. It's no longer about going against the microaggressions of cultural appropriation, because they culturally appropriated wokeism, took it from black people. And now they're telling you how you should think as a person of color. And if you don't think like them, you're a traitor to your race. If you don't know whether to vote for me or Trump, then you ain't black. You know what I'm saying? Like, being liberal is being free thinking. Liberty. Libero. It's Latin for freedom. Freedom. Liberty means freedom. Liberal means free thinking. If you're free thinking, you're willing to have an open mind to what other people think. If you're free thinking, you're not shouting the people down for their thoughts. You're not telling people how they should and shouldn't think based on their color. You wouldn't put us in a box and place as if we should all think one way. That is racism. That is making a monolith out of a group of people and saying we all should all think one way. That's racism. And that's all coming from your far left, your white liberal people. And it's disgusting. They're not like us. They're not liberal. Separate yourselves, men. Please, separate yourselves. Till next time, I'm keeping this short. Here they.